Well, hey fans, welcome back to another streaming review, and today we're talking about Gen V. So Gen V is a spin-off superhero series from The Boys. It follows a couple of students at Godolkin University, and it is actually set around right before season 4 and concurrently with season 4. And the main character is Marie Moreau, portrayed by Jaz Sinclair. She is a hemokinetic. She can control blood. She has this tragic backstory where unfortunately she killed both of her parents, and her little sister is off somewhere. She doesn't quite know where her sister is, and she really wants to find her to be able to apologize and show that she can now control her powers. And it's basically following her journey, feeling this internal guilt, of course, for killing her parents. She wants to go to this university. She's worked really hard to go there, and her goal is to become the first black woman in the 7, which we know unfortunately will no longer be the case because Sister Sage in the upcoming season of The Boys is now the first black woman in the 7. So she makes friends with a group of popular kids, and their powers include one's like an empath. If she touches you, she can make you do whatever she wants. One kid can control metal. The other kid can control fire, and the other kid can shift genders. And when I first heard about this show, I really did not think it would work. I'm like, I don't really care about a college version of The Boys. And it was having a whole bunch of casting issues. In the beginning, they had to recast certain roles because they just weren't happy where the series was going. But when I was finally able to watch it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this definitely captured the college experience for what it would be like with Supes. And I really enjoyed all of the characters. Now, one of my favorite characters introduced in this season is Jordan Lee, who is, I'm going to go ahead and say it, the best trans character I've ever seen on film. The way his abilities work. He's portrayed by London Thor and Darick. And so when he is in his male form, his super ability is that he is indestructible. When he is in his female form, his ability is that he's really quick, quicker than normal, and can shoot these concussive blasts. So that is just an interesting character all around, and the fact of how that character deals with being attracted to men while in his female form. It's not like when he's a man, he wants to be with men. He usually goes into his female form and he's with men, and when he's in his male form, he's with women. And they deal with that, and they deal with the fact that, his parents aren't really cool with his sexuality, even though it's part of the power set that he has. And the reason he has those powers is their fault, because they're the ones who allowed for Vought to give him Gen V as a baby. So it doesn't really make sense why they would be upset when really he's just using his abilities to live his life. So I really enjoyed this character. I really enjoy his relationship with Marie and how that grows. And I would like to see more of this character in the future. And the way that this show puts in problems that kids have and ties it with superpowers is phenomenal. Another character, Emma Meyer, she portrays Little Cricket, and her ability is she has multiple abilities. It's really the same ability, but on two ends of the spectrum. But when we first see her, her ability is that she can shrink, but to do so, she has to vomit. So that deals with a lot of people who deal with, bulimia and anorexia, throwing up their food, women especially who, have body image issues. So I really like how they dealt with that part of her abilities in terms of tying it with, an illness that kids go through. Of course, if she overeats, we find out later that she can grow large. And we also find out later that this is just something even though this is her ability, she can overcome it, because at one point, spoiler alert, we do see her shrink. It has something to do with her emotions, really, not really what she eats, or both. We're not really sure yet, but I like that aspect. You got Chance Perdomo, who portrays Andre Anderson. I'll get back to him later, but he has the magnetic abilities, and he finds out that every time he uses his abilities, he gets these small fissures in his brain, and he has the same abilities as his father, who unfortunately now is having these strokes. Basically, his powers give him many strokes, and if you use them too much, he's gonna not be able to do much anymore by the time he's in his 40s. So he has to deal with that. You got Maddie Phillips. She's the telepathic empath, and of course, whenever she touches you, she makes you do something that she controls. And her backstory is also really tragic. And I think her journey to being the main villain of the story is great, because when you think about the villain of the show, which is, I think, is Indira Shetty, she is not a villain at all. Her cause is really just when you find out what it is, and how her connection to season 1 of The Boys, which the show does a great thing of connecting Gen V and The Boys here and there, is fantastic. And she's here, you see her, and you're oh wow, that's what happened to her. Yeah, I hope she definitely gets her revenge. Whatever she's doing makes sense. And of course she's going about it the wrong way. That's the point of a villain. They're doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, etc., etc. But back to Kate, just her evolution of Supe superiority was great to watch. And in contrast, Marie, who really wants to be a hero and will do anything to make that happen in terms of, like, I understand, we've been wronged by humans over and over and we just want to live and survive. It's kind of like a whole X-Men vibe is really what's going on with this show, except for this is kind of more like the Brotherhood of Mutants, to say the least. The ending is great. The gore is great. The blood, like the way they just made this show look, it's definitely, it is that same adult content like The Boys. It's very lewd. There's a lot of sexuality, a lot of just death everywhere. But the story is what's truly intriguing. It kept you coming back week after week after week. So I tentatively am excited to see how they're going to do the next season, especially with how this season ended. And there's a lot of other characters that I really enjoyed. You got Sam Reardon, who's kind of crazy. He sees puppets, but he's super strong. He's another mostly main character. His brother is the one who dies within like the first episode that I didn't see coming. That was really good. You got all the characters that play, and I'm going to have to save a lot of this for my spoiler review, which I wasn't going to do, but I think I do want to. And I really want to get all this out before the next season of The Boys comes out, which is quickly. But like I said, I'm tentatively excited for the next season. And I'm going to get into a little bit of real life spoilers here to, talk about Chance Perdomo. But in terms of a score, I'm actually going to give Gen V Season 1 a superb 5 out of 5. I thought this was one of the better spinoffs that I've ever seen. And yeah, they did a great job, and everybody should be excited moving forward. So, as you all know by now, unfortunately, Chance Perdomo passed away in a motorcycle accident earlier this year, and such a terrific young actor, and it really pains me that he was taken from us so soon. And his character, Andre, was one of my favorites in this season of Gen V, and I was excited to see where he would move in the second season, namely after everything that happened with his dad and him learning about the effect his powers have on him. But, of course, shortly after his passing, the writers came out and said that they would not recast the role, and they're basically going to write the character off. And as soon as I read that, I was extremely pissed. I thought it was the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And I know all of this stems that they really want to do the right thing. They want to pay respects to the actor. They don't want to, feel like they don't care. But I don't get that from making his decision. And this all stems from what Disney did with Chadwick Boseman after he passed away. They decided not to recast Black Panther because of how much that character meant to people, and they just wanted to move forward in a different way. And I get that. But now it seems like all these other people who are copying their tactic are really trying to virtue signal. It's not like they care about the characters, because if they truly did care about the characters, they would take the time, they would mourn, and then they would recast the character so that another actor could get the chance at a job and carry on that legacy of that character, and we can actually see that story develop throughout multiple seasons. It's not that hard, and it frustrates me. And they've actually recently come out and said, I believe I read an article on Collider or whatever, that they're going to kill the character off. He's going to die somehow. And I really don't like that. I don't like that for the character. I don't like that for a story arc. It just feels like they're cutting it short for a silly reason. And I will miss Chance Perdomo as well. I didn't really see him in a lot of stuff prior to Gen V. I know he was apparently on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but I did not watch that show, unfortunately. Apparently he was good in it. And like I said, he was good in this show. So that's the choice they're making. I really hate it. That's all I can say, is that I wish the character was returning in Season 2. But hopefully Season 2 is still as good, even though that character pretty much won't be there. And I am interested to see how they right now I could be totally wrong. They could write this character out and they can make a great season. I feel like, you know what, they made the right choice. But I really do not feel like that is going to be my response. But I'm going to keep an open mind. I thank you guys for joining me for this TV review. You can watch the full review on YouTube and the website, theprogllc.com/FlixFrog. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.